me I'm live, baby. Oh, dude, I don't even know if I can use that. Tell me I can go live here. We're already bouncing. Am I live? I don't know if I'm live or not. Turn on. Please tell me I'm live. Oh. Internet back on. I knew something was wrong. I fucking knew something. Well, I was wrong at what was wrong. Oh, what's going on, dudes? Guys still here right now, so I apologize for this morning. I've been having, hold on a second here. I've been having internet problems all day. At one point I thought it was, hold on. I thought it could be hold on a second here. Not everything's on right now. I apologize here. What time is it right now? Give me one quick, hold on here. Having problems. Hang tight here. Don't quote me on this stuff, but dude, what time is it right now? It's like, okay, let's do this really fast here. We'll get into the chit chat here in a minute. Okay, we got to talk about a couple things. We'll get into like why the internet is off and all that kind of shit in a minute here. I got to write it down at least. Reflection or something like that. Okay, so a couple things here. What do we need? They bounced on the first one, not the second one. That was good to see. This is the 1 hour check, our test or check back right here. This is really good to see. We actually bounced here. I was thinking that it's possible we can pull down all the way down here before we go up. We have to chat about something really quick. The SPY right now is kind of trading like a penny stock, isn't it? We got to chat about something here. So, in the brief last night, I wasn't able to expand upon this in last night's brief, but hold on one quick second here. Couple things here. We should be going up. Rest of the week, go up. As long as support holds, as long as specifically 581. Let's just check this really quick. There's a couple other places here. We could pull back down into, believe it or not, 579.14. Just keep these numbers with you today into the close today, okay? 579.14, 581.54, and 582.87 on SPY specifically. But we have to talk about this into the bell. It's very important. And I have to tell you why here, because there's stuff coming across the wire that's been coming across. It's been coming across for, I don't know, I think today. I was hearing rumors of people talking about stock market crash, right? I don't think you're going to see a crash, but I got to explain some of it to you. Give me a quick second here. Now, let me give you the gist of this. So I did a brief last night, and I want you to conceptualize this in your head, okay? I'm going to bring the brief up right now so I can get all this shit straight. So basically, the market likes to wrap things up neatly. It loves doing that. It loves to like wrap up things. It likes like a box with a bow, put your present in it. You throw a bunch of shit against the wall. Some of it sticks, some of it doesn't, but they put it all together. That's the key here. Market loves to put things together. Like you just throw shit at a wall, shit at a wall, shit at a wall, and you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, they're going to do this for that, and they're going to do that for this, and they're going to do this for that, and that for this. Right now, there's a confluence of like volatility, right? Unrealized volatility. That's in the form of an election. We have a red wave. I want you to know a couple things here. Um, there's a very high percentage chance as of today that we get a red sweep. I don't know if you know that, but there's a very, I don't care where you get your news. And that Trump trade has been priced in over the last 2 or 3 weeks. Now things could change. Even if things change from today forward into the election, even if Harris were to win, the likelihood of the Senate or the House of Reps going to the Democrats is extremely low. Those races are way, like, there's a little bit of chance that Harris could win. You could get some people coming out and, the polls are wrong, but it's very hard right now for Dems to be looking towards the House and the Senate going towards them. So they're pricing in, Wall Street's pricing in a red sweep, okay? But you've got still have election volatility surrounding that. You've got volatility around specifically the presidential aspect of that race. And if Trump doesn't win, or the pollsters are wrong, you could have some election. There's overhang from that. And then you've got the volatility with Israel and Iran in particular. Now that one's real. We're going to discuss that one in a few moments. You also have something else going on here, and I got to be honest with you guys, okay? I got to be truthfully honest with you. If you remember when Biden and Trump ran against each other, Putin and Russia, the way they invaded Ukraine was directly related to who won our election. I'm not going to get into semantics here or politics or any of that kind of stuff, but there's some of that overhang too. So depending upon who the president is, there are people around the world looking to who that person's going to be, and we could experience some real volatility geopolitically. So that's like, what does Iran and Israel do? We're going to come right that one specifically. We're going to come back and talk about, because that is important and involves the election. And then you've got Russia, Ukraine still, and you've got China and Taiwan. And let's talk about that. You got 6 countries, right? 6 major countries. Well, maybe not they're all major, but China's major. Russia's major. And for the Mideast, Israel's major, right? Yeah, you could even make a case that Iran is major. So, this is not normal, right? It's not the norm to be seeing flare-ups in the Middle East and flare-ups in Southeast Asia and flare-ups in Europe, right? What does that sound like? Sounds like unrealized vol, right? Like not quite World War III. Don't want to say it, but it's there. Now we're going to come back to this in just a second here. So the stock market likes to wrap this stuff up in like a gift box all at the same time, and with a neat bow, deal with it all at once. Okay? So we've got some mechanics in the market right now. We've got bears, of course, that want a stock market crash, right? You've got a high, you've got the new high, and you got a series of lower highs, and you would think that we're going to crash here, right? And normally, even for myself, I'm like, can't be having like a low, another fucking low over here, and be getting all bulled up, right? But I want you to think about some stuff here. You got all that overhang with election. You've got all that overhang with geopolitics. You've also got the overhang with the interplay between the politics and the geopolitics. And then you've got some other stuff coming into focus, right? You've got volatile data ahead. You've got durable goods, JOLTS, GDP, PCE, NFP, unemployment. This is all, it's like layer the cake, right? You got the cake. You're making the cake. You got Cap, you told me you got geopolitical stuff. You got political stuff. Then you got the interplay and the geopolitical and political. And then we've got all of this data coming out the same week leading into that election stuff. the same week where leaders of other countries may or may not do things depending upon who's president, right? And then you've got all this data coming out. It's like we're back. This is like the Twilight Zone, isn't it? It's like September and October. They just like throw it all against the wall. They're like, we go through months with no volatility, months, and they just stack that shit plate high, right? Like stacking shit high. They're like, we're coming to September, we got a bunch of stuff, and if that doesn't stick, we're gonna get into October, and we got a bunch of stuff to throw at them to drop the market a second time, right? And that usually works. Like, let's think about it. It usually works. Right? You usually get a nice sell down into the end of September, get a nice sell down into the end of October. Sometimes it lasts into November. Then you get a little bit of volatility mixed in a grind higher to close out the year in a bull market, and everybody's happy, right? The bears are happy. Hedge funds are cleaning up end of the year, window dressing kind of stuff, and everybody's stoked, right? And we sweep away all of that doom and gloom. And like at least by end of October, middle of November, right? And so they're stacking the cake again a second time. They're like making the second bear cake, and they're like, "Don't worry, bro. I got like 10-layer cake. That 5-layer didn't work for September. I got the 10-layer now for October, right?" And so we got a bunch of data coming out, and on top of all of that, we've got a November rate decision, a December rate decision. You've got people thinking that if we don't raise rates, that's bearish. And I'm telling you, changing my story to you, telling you we need rate cuts. We get the rate cuts, and now we have a reaction from the unemployment rate, and we actually don't need rate cuts anymore. As a matter of fact, if you didn't get a rate cut, that would be more bullish for 2025, believe it or not. And on top of all the stuff I just told you, we have what else coming out? We got a bunch of housing data that should be negative, right? Coming down the pike. We got like 2 or 3 reports coming out, right? Coming down the pike. And so I want to just say one quick thing here for you, okay? Every time we roll down right now, we're buying puts, hedging. And what's funny enough, or funnily enough too, is that we're buying calls as well that are out of the money, but not out of the money enough. So again, we're buying calls at like 5,900, 6,000. I don't know if I can show this to you right now, but maybe I can show this to you right now. But we're buying, just trust me here. We're buying calls at 5,900 and 6,000, but that ain't good enough. I've told you again and again, we need the FOMO OTM calls. So we're grinding around and grinding around and grinding around in the market here, just back and forth, back and forth. We need a trigger. We need either volatility to pass, to be behind us, so that you guys all feel comfortable, so you start buying OTM FOMO calls so we can roll down, or we need actual volatility, like doom and gloom. They just blew up the oil fields, and they just blew up the nuclear centers, and they tried to do this, and they tried to do that. That kind of stuff. Trump is, and amplify it with, like, Trump is now contesting the election. We have to unwind the Trump trade. You, like, need either need realized volatility out there, or you need that volatility to pass. And for buyers and bulls to get overly confident. Well, they're confident, but they ain't overly confident yet. So there's one more thing I want to say to you here, and I don't want you to take this as doom and gloom. You know I'm not a doom guy. I would love right now to get a bloodbath. I think most people would with this price action, except for maybe option sellers love it, right? Option sellers love this action. They're like, they got the doom and gloom. They're buying puts, so we're not going down. And these bulls don't think we're going above 5,900. So I'm just going to sell all these suckers puts and calls, and I'm going to just make bank in here. The more we do this, the better, right? Meanwhile, your option seller is just making serious stupid money in here. Now, I do want to say one thing to you here, okay? Don't take this as bare doom, okay? But I got to get this out to you. Remember the box I talked about? The market likes to wrap this stuff up, right? You like the neat little box? We have earnings coming into focus next week. Not this week, but next week, week 3, right? Everybody is long. Retail is long. Hedge funds are a little bit long, but not fully long. Like retail is like long, 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 long. I'm going to get paid next week. And it really is hard to see how, if all of you are long, who's going to pay that? I don't know. Usually, if we do have good reports and you guys are all long, we need more money to come in from somewhere. We either need to force another group to chase, right? We need bag holders always. If we don't get those, dealers will, flush that money and force you to rebuy so they can pay the that second round, right? So there's a chance we could flush next week just based on the fact that everybody is long. They flushed Nvda recently, didn't they? Do you remember when they flushed Nvda? Flushed it straight down. Everybody was long. Then they forced you to get long again, right? So we've got earnings. Like, this is the layer cake, right? Big layer cake of stuff. And there's one more thing I want to talk to you about here. And the reason why you're seeing people say crash out there is because there is a narrative being talked about in the background, in the back channels of the Bloomberg black boxes. And I'm going to read a brief thing about that to you right now, okay? Options traders rolled their contracts too high, too fast. And now there is little gamma support left at current price levels. This is why you see this, you're seeing like grind, squeeze, blast down, right? That's unusual behavior for being in positive gamma, isn't it? But the note goes on to say, while the VIX methodology might not fully capture the vol premium, at the money term structure might be a better measure to gauge how implied short-term volatility might play out. Now, this is being harped across the internet right now. You know Pravotsky from Goldman, right? He's saying that an attack on Iran needs to happen this week. It needs to happen this week. Otherwise, it would be too close to the election. Now, why is this note saying that in particular? They're saying it in particular because whether you like it or not, Iran, they have a history of sometimes not following what the U.S. says, but I'm going to assure you, also Blinken went over there yesterday, right, to go talk to the Israelis, and I'm sure Blinken said to them, hey, bro, you got a window to do this shit. Don't be doing it next week. You can do it. You got like a few days to do it here, or you wait until after the election. Now, Israel at times has fucked around and done things that they were told not to do. But here where we are right now, you're going to expect that attack to take place like this week. And also, or it doesn't take place until after the election. So that's why people are saying that. And according to, and we know this is old news, but according to Israeli media, a significant attack will be launched soon. Oil field facilities are still kind of on the table. Nuclear sites, military bases, government buildings, homes of senior leaders. They're all potential targets. We also know that Israel does like to do that stuff, even though they tell you they're not going to. So how do you deal with that? Is my question. Do you panic? No. You don't panic, right? The last time we went through this in September, they squoze us up, didn't they? We had a little bit of blood here. I do want to show you this. So September, right? We did trade down into the end of September. This was our pullback in September. There was the expectation that we would break through this, though, in September. Wasn't there? We'd break through this level here. They would give bulls a little bit of a respite here, and then we'd have our continuation down for October, right? That didn't happen, did it? We had unrealized vol that never came to pass. All that stuff, all that volatility was wrapped up in a little box, became unrealized, and what did they do? They squoze us, right? To the moon. And we're coming into that same similar situation right now, aren't we? You see it right here. You got a little, oh, hold on here. Same situation, right? You got, we're coming into the middle of the month right here. Maybe we can get a little bit more down here, right? But if that vol doesn't come to pass, we squeeze, don't we? Right? Now, what if we crash? What if they do? What if Israel does attack? Does attack Iran and, like, I don't know, blows up a mountain, takes out Khomeini and a bunch of other dudes, and I don't know, takes out an oil field or two, that kind of stuff, and we start really heading to the downside. What do you do for that? The only thing you can really do here is, in my view, is hedge with a ratio spread. There are more complex trades. There's some volatility trades. There's like I forget what they're called. I actually forget what they're called right now, but there are some complex trades that I've gone over in briefs that you can take here to capture that possibility of a downside move. You can go SQ. There's even simpler things than ratios. You can just slam the SQQ button, can't you? Market starts rolling over significantly. You just start slamming that SQQ and you're good to go, right? That should cover you too to hedge this stuff. But the thesis here would be this, if you're looking for a trigger for that kind of stuff, stay focused on what we talked about before, which was the target is 590, isn't it? The target here is 590. It's not 6,000. It's not 62, 6,100. We haven't been through ERs yet. We're not through all this volatility right yet. We're not through the election yet. We're not through Israel and Iran yet. We're not through all of this data coming out on the first into the first and third. So you would expect us to not squeeze just yet up here, right? That's probably off the table for right now, right? Like we did back here. Probably off the table at the moment. But if, let's say, we're going to get a crash right now, I would expect a new high. I would expect, if we only have a short window of this week of Israel attacking Iran until after the election, I would think that if they were gonna attack tonight, tomorrow, the next night, something like that, that you would see some kind of a squeeze. You'd likely see like either today's close, tomorrow's close, Thursday's close, the trip higher to account for that attack. To think that our bankers don't know that it's going to happen 4 or 5 hours later is insano. So they could look for some liquidity to grab. So that would be an indicator to me that it might be time to take the money off the table, maybe get short on a close with some SQQQs. We're not there yet. Otherwise, what we'll do is we'll do something similar. If Iran does not, or Israel does not attack Iran, I would expect this same movement here. Something very similar. Just like that. Just grind, right? Oh, grind down there. Grind down there. This thing comes up a little bit. All of a sudden, we're in November. And the election is figured out. And we're up and at them just again to the upside. Even if it's just here. Squeeze higher, right? Bam, we're down to the downside. Now, the one thing I do want to say to you is that the earnings thing is still a problem here. Like, the earnings thing is a problem. Everybody being max long for earnings bothers me. I don't like that. I don't like that at all, I'll be honest with you. I don't like that everyone's long for that. I don't like that. I don't like right now that it's the first time the S&P 500 has posted 6 consecutive weekly gains this year, and only the second time it's done so since the pandemic. I don't like that as of Friday, the S&P 500 had still posted its strongest year-to-date performance since 1997. I told you guys earlier this year, that we could turn into trading that looks a lot like the 1990s, right? How many times did I show you guys 95, 96, 97? And I said, if we start trading this stuff, we could start squeezing up, putting on 30, 40 points, and then drop 20 or 30 points, 40 points, stuff like that in a matter of an instant, right? So we're trading that right now. We also have another thing here, which is back in July. I want to show you the behavior right here. Now, we're consolidating here, but we're getting a new high, lower high, new high, but higher high right here. This is what I want you to see here. I want you to see that one, because this isn't exact, but it's something like that right there, right? Bam, 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 break below and under. So let's take a look back over here. Pretty simple stuff, right? You got a trend here. We haven't broken that trend yet, have we? We haven't broken down below yet, have we? We start to break that trend, and we can start to make a case for a major roll. Okay? Have we done that yet? No. Have we gotten the new high like we did in July? So you've got the high right here, right? You got another high. You got a low. That's like July, isn't it? Then you get the other high up here. Now it starts to look like July, doesn't it? It starts looking more like July, and maybe that's the case, right? See that? Like that? See how that has changed now? It's now looking more like July, right? It's not there. You can't see it, but you can see it if we were to make a new high. You got something like this. Bam, straight up there. And they kind of just tee us off right there. The downside. Make sense? So you can draw this. You can draw this shit for anybody, right? A bull or a bear, can't you? So what I would posit to you would be, if they're going to crash this, right? You're going to be looking for one of two things. You're going to be looking for a move to that 58 or 5,900 with a failure. If you see that, right, get out of being long and maybe put a short on. Maybe we'll see Israel attack Iran, or I don't know, some election doom or some bad data. As far as if we don't see that and we stop seeing these new highs, just keep your eyes on this thing over here, right? We break out. Yeah, that's some doom right there. If we were to break down here, but most importantly, breaking down below 579.19, this 579, 580 area. If we begin to break down below that, I would say, yeah, get short here. Does that make sense? Because I showed you that back in July as well, right? You have the breakdown this way, or you have the breakdown, or not the breakdown, but the oh yeah, everything is awesome. FOMO trade. They're buying the 610s, 620s, 630s, that kind of stuff. So for right now, what are you doing? For right now, you're just going to be trading this consolidation, huh? And what are they doing right now? They're trying to sell that down, aren't they? And I think we break out here. I think we're going to break out and trade that 590 into before the weekend. We got 3 days, a 3-day window for Israel to attack Iran. And that's why you're hearing that stuff out in public. So if you're all joining right now, if you want to know why I haven't been online, I woke up this morning, my wired internet was dropping and acting weird, like 30 bps, 70 bps. Then my Wi-Fi was doing it. I've had a technician here twice today. They did just fix it. I had a reflection problem. I thought it was had workers outside with big trucks and stuff doing construction work, and they had big metal containers. I'm like, maybe it's just interfering with my my router and modem. That's not the case. I guess when they installed my fiber, the temperatures made two glass things not line up perfectly, and you could see it like waving, or he could see that it was waving. I don't know what that means. Bad reflection is what he called it. And so my internet was spotty. So he just finished. He just replaced all of my lines, and now outside, inside, and he can now see down to the end of the block or something like that. I don't know what that means, but he can only see. He said he could see 75 feet from where my modem was. Some 75 feet. Now he can see like fucking hundreds of feet down the road. So, anyways, what to expect here? Stay with the plan. Right? Up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And look for what? Look for dip buys on the hourly trigger on 583.03. Look for dip buys on 582.87. Personally, I'd like to see us pull back to this. I'd personally like to see us pull back to 581.41. And take that long, and still looking long up here. Still looking long into end of the week. 588 would be nice. That would be where I'd like to see us go right there. Just 588, at least by the end of the week, to go higher. So that's the plan. If we break these support levels, we keep breaking down there. I still haven't received my 579 yet. So no joy for me. That's the one that I really want. I wanted it on Monday. I wanted it today, this morning on the open. Didn't get it. They bought buy, right? Hit 580. Buy, right? They bought the trend almost exactly. So I just want this like 579.14, like right down there. I want that really, really, really bad. That beautiful trade right there. So until you see the break of either of the two of these, until you either see like, don't get too crazy with the bear doom, unless we begin like breaking underneath, making some new lows. And if we do that, even if we do that, be waiting. If you wake up in the middle of the night and have some cash available, I got money. I got a bunch of cash sitting on the sidelines. So I want nothing more. I'll be honest with you guys. Like, you give me something like this down here. Like, I find this trading to be garbage. I can't stand it. It drives me batty. I love, like, woof. And I love being the only one buying that shit, because you know what it does? It goes vertical. I buy the dip, and it's straight up. I look at my account, and it goes 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and I'm like, woo! I can do some lotto trades again. I can put some money at risk. And I get that you guys want that too. I understand. I even think bulls at this point are a little bit like worn out and crispy in here. Like spreads of your friends, option sellers are excited in here. And right now we're just grinding, like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, I saw Misfit went nuts. I remember yesterday I was telling you they're going to rotate out of some Mag 7 and then into new Mag 7. Like, they totally fucking rotated today, didn't they? They rotated yesterday into Mag 7. Then today they did another rotation in tech. Now, of course, bear with me. My charts, right? Today, like, I would get a couple ticks and then it would just get jagged. Like, I had like latency problems, so I haven't seen I haven't seen, not just the internet, but I haven't seen charts all day. It's been like on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off. It became frustrating, so I just said, "Fuck this! I'm turning it off." So I would turn it off and check back in, turn off, check back in. I was talking to Winky earlier, and I'm like, you might get a reaction here coming up. Like 12, like you got a window at like 12:30. No, it was like 12 o'clock. You had a window. Then I think at 12:30 and 1 o'clock you had a window. And I was telling him that the window was there for the squeeze because, hold on here. Remember that one? You guys remember this one right here? Remember that one? That's when they told you the wedge, they were going to crash on the wedge. That didn't happen, did it? They didn't crash it, did they? We actually broke up and above the wedge. This is SPX, right? So you got the squeeze today when this happened. I was like, Winky, you're gonna get some fireworks, bro. Your fireworks were right here. Right before this green bar. Right before this green bar, that half-hour trigger was coming in. It was coming in hot. Like, it was coming right in here, and as soon as it touched, the green bar just went bananas. It went woof. And then it went wham. Like, wham. It was awesome. It was a great fucking trade to the upside. And the crazy part, too, was it traded straight to that classic declining bull wedge, right? Like, literally pinstrike up here. As a matter of fact, the 584s were trading 6 cents when they went to, I think they went to in the 40s. Don't quote me on that. 40s or 60s. I thought I saw them go from 6 cents to 46, I think, is what I saw. They could have went a little bit higher, but at any rate, expectations, right? We've got how many days left? We've got Wednesday and Thursday. That's it. That's all we've got left, Wednesday and Thursday. If I had a guess here, I'd like to see that right there. I'd like to see that on the open tomorrow. If this holds in the overnight, I'm more open to that trade up there tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. I don't know what else to say to you about. I don't know what to say to you about the doom out there for Iran and Israel. There's a window. I want you to be aware of it more than anything. I want you to know that you could likely wake up, I would say, tonight, tomorrow night, and maybe Thursday at the latest, and see something happen. I don't think you see it over the weekend. And the reason I'm saying that is because it takes time for that stuff to wrap up. I would think those operations would take more than 72 hours. I would expect that it would happen now. If you don't see it by like Friday, I don't think you're going to see it over the weekend. I don't think you see it over through our earnings or through the election. I think it's a little bit too late in the game for them to launch those operations. They may. I'll eat a shit sandwich on that, but I don't think you're going to see that either. And the notes that I've been reading all day long today seem to agree. There's some tacit who carries the actual stick. It's probably the United States. We need to get it over with, or a peace deal or something. There's a lot of politics in this. I want you guys to go back and look on your own time, right? Go back and look during the last election. There was Putin had some expectations. If this person becomes president, or what do I do if that person becomes president, and how their invasion of Ukraine and the timing of the invasion of Ukraine took place matters. I think some of the rest of this stuff is probably predicated upon whomever becomes president. The rest of the world is waiting to see depending upon the type of support they'll get from whichever person becomes president. So we could see them wait. It's possible that you see Israel wait for the election to take place to make a decision as to what exactly they're going to do. What else? Dude, MCD. Did you guys watch the video with me on Saturday about McDonald's? Did they go crazy today? They should be part of the Trump trade, right? Oh, God. What the fuck happened? Was McDonald's part of the Trump trade? I wrote that one down. Hold on here. I thought I wrote it down. Hold on here. Dude, McDonald's. Oh. What happened, McDonald's? They should have bought French fries. I got to look and see. Hold on. Let me see who. Hold on. I wrote it down from Saturday. Shoot. You know what? I'm going to have to find it. I don't know where it is. Does anybody remember here what the McDonald's trade was? There was an election trade for McDonald's. There was I don't know who it was for. One of the presidential candidates had McDonald's on their like buy it if I don't know if it was Harris or Trump. I don't remember. S-Bucks was one of them. S-Bucks was on that list. McDonald's was on that list. Dude, McDonald's. Woohoo! Whoa. I thought they were going down here. We called this whole trade down here, but then we said, we're going to go down some more. And they squeezed. Dude. Oh. Is this based on the report? Dude, I got to check this out. I saw a bunch of dumps today. I saw I didn't have a chance to get in the Discord, but I wanted to talk to you guys. I saw some stuff this morning. Let me cycle through some stuff for you guys. What was I looking at here? Hold on a second here. There was a bunch of stuff. I got to look. It might be on a different computer. There was a bunch of stuff that we used to trade that was selling hard. Dude, Starbucks got slammed. Dude, Lucid looks good right now, by the way. LCID looks great. LCID looks great. Lucy, Lucy, looks great. What was I looking at down here? There was something that there's like 3 or 4 tickers that we were trading. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Ready? Here the ticket. Write these tickers down at home. We used to trade these tickers, and they're selling them right now. They mooned. ATMU got sold hard and heavy last 3 days. ACM looks like it's ready to roll. Looking for something short? ACM looks like it's ready. These are all old tickers we used to trade. Next one, SLGN. They've already started selling it. 2 days of selling on it. IoT. They've been selling that one for a bunch of time now. We used to trade that one. They took the money at $51. They've been selling that one hard and heavy. MBLY. We used to trade that one, right? That one's coming back finally. Joby. Mooned. This is a recent one that we picked. Joby is one that we picked recently. LPSN. Looking like it wants to make another move to the upside. Excuse me here. I'm losing my voice here. Tiger, TIGR. They squeezed. They're coming back down into a buy zone again. TIGR. People are wondering about TMF and TLT. I got a warning on that. I didn't put it in the brief last night. But here, let's look at TLT real quick. There's a couple things I got to talk to you guys about here. I had an alert down here for 91.42. I got to tell you guys something here. Dude, like depending on how this election goes, like I want to hope that it would. Like I got a tag here for $92. But dudes, like I've been looking at this. I've been looking in depth on this Trump trade. It's pure fucking insanity. Um, I I have to run it. I have to like ask Andy Constant about it. There's a wind up trade in here that is. You want to read to you like what I've got so far? I'll bounce it off you guys. You can't hold me to this, okay? Um, dude, like $60 is on the tables. 82. Depending upon the election outcome, like I think you get a bounce here, but that would not shock me. Like at least that would not shock me. Let me read you. This is gonna. I was like, this sounds like a poor man's version of McGilligot. This sounds like a really bad version, like a 2-bit B C D actor. But let me read it to you what I've got so far, okay? Now bear with me here. You gotta bear with me on this. God, I can't believe I'm gonna read this out loud to you guys. So after I watched Larry Williams past couple months, and I've been reading all of Wolf Richter's stuff too. Here, let me talk to you guys in person here. All right. So bear with me here because this isn't for public consumption. I wanted to run this against like Bob Kendall or there's a couple other guys on FinTwit that I trust because I don't know. I want you to know I'm not the world's smartest man. Okay. I have a business background, but I don't have a finance background. I'm not. I took economics class, like economics classes. I took business classes. Took some finance classes, but nothing. I wasn't ever. My degree isn't in like this stuff, and most of my career wasn't spent in as a professional. Right. I have a background in it, like or adjacent background, but not nothing where I can say I'm the guy in this, but the Wall Street likes to wrap trades up so that they don't lose. They have these like long short portfolios that are very complicated, and the trades pay for themselves. That's why when you see like that article that came out where like GS was like, we're gonna go through the last decade, and we've talked about that, right? Like the lost decade. GS is different than GS Investments. Like GS Investments isn't going to give you that outlook. And the way that like investment banks wrap their trading, they have their hands in fucking everything. Like trading currencies to make free trades in U.S. tech companies, right? Like selling U.S. dollars to buy dollars in another country for a favorable rate to then take the money off of that trade and then pay for like U.S. stock, tech or whatever. Anyways, they wrap these trades up, like the U.S. JPY pairs trade recently. The unwind from that impacted U.S. tech, right? It's a good comparison. So, like I'm watching all this like Larry Williams shit, that I'm reading all this Wolf Richter stuff, and I'm like, we're pricing in this like bizarro scenario in the stock market right now, and I call it bizarro. And then I wrote, I was bouncing this off a person I trust, and I said, I don't even know if I should put this into a brief. I gave you guys a taste of it last night, but not the full thing, and it's not done yet. As parts of what I've come to, or conclusions I've come to, are not complete. And I have to rewrite it and check all these facts on this stuff. But the trade is kind of crazy. Like Wall Street and the bond market is betting on a Trump win, and they're also betting on a red sweep of the Senate and the House. The Federal Reserve's last cuts they did, 50 BPS, has improved unemployment. And not only that, it's improved the rate of change of unemployment. And the recession we were flashing in next summer is now disappearing. And that in turn means there's likely no cuts ahead. I mean, like, I don't think you get cuts. You might get 25, maybe. I would not be shocked that there's no cuts in November as of right now, and without the election having taken place. We're set up for no cuts in November and maybe 25 in December, but I don't even think you get that right now. There's no need for it. And I got to tell you why that is. If you the base case is that when you get cuts, right, you're going to continue to get cuts. Even Jerome said the hiking cycle is over. But that doesn't mean that he has to cut. He can leave rates where they are, or bring rates to a place where they're acceptable for a positive economy, in a way, where we live with higher rates. And we used to do that before pre 2008. We always had some kind of like we weren't ever at zero. And we went lower than zero, lower than 2.5, only when things were bad, right? "Quote unquote bad," to try to jumpstart the economy. Cutting rates can be a sign of a bad business cycle or a bad economy. So I know as a bull, you're like, I want to see more rate cuts, but believe it or not, the lesser rate cuts you see, the more bullish it is. Means they can leave rates higher because the economy is healthy. Inversely, so the biggest thing the Fed was looking at was that velocity of the unemployment rate, and that's literally the last two unemployment readings has come down, and we have an unemployment reading coming up at the end of this month. So that turn means no cuts ahead. The yield curve is uninverting right now, right? The yield curve is uninverting because of a few reasons. The bond market thinks that we're going to be issuing stupid debt over Trump becoming president. And that's actually bullish equities. Trump will also get aggressive with tariffs unless he makes a deal with these other countries, right? But even if you don't fully see, even if he doesn't follow through fully on those tariffs, listen closely here. Even if he doesn't follow through fully on those tariffs, right? You have it's like a super trend of inflation coming up in the middle of the summer next year in our business cycle. You can see it every like 5 years. We go through this like super trend of inflation, and these guys probably know this stuff. Like banks know this shit. The Fed probably knows this, that we're going to come into a bottom inflation. It's going to bounce anyways. And you've got talk of tariffs right now, right? So even if you just threaten those tariffs, you could still assign greed from companies and say, "Oh, look, inflation's rising. Nothing I can do about it. This guy over here is threatening tariffs." And they get to pocket more profit. So companies even know this too, and they need a reason for this inflation, even if it's not real. So PPI, CPI, you could see like corporate greed stepping in this summer, and some of it being assigned to these tariff negotiations, right? Maybe it is because of tariffs, but maybe it isn't, right? And if it isn't, I can pocket it. Make sense? And Liz, this is where it gets crazy, right? What you see banks right now are like, well, if rates are going to stay, let me go continue on with here, right? So you got plain old profiteering with inflation that could be there as well, just from the threats. Trump also promised to remove illegal immigrants with the U.S. military. Theoretically, it could send the unemployment rate plummeting and force wages to meet the newly created profiteering and inflation and higher mortgage rates that are offsetting the housing market crash that is in full swing right now. So, so here's what's crazy with this, right? You have like rates staying higher because the unemployment rate's coming down due to the rate cuts, but also possibly more demand for workers, and wages grow in those situations. If you see unemployment falling, right, you're in this like Goldilocks zone, but also you have less workers available, or even the perception of less workers available if Trump gets elected. This is all wound up in this big trade right now, right? So you have people that are like working hard. There's not enough workers, and you have to pay more wages. And if they have more wages, they can afford to pay a higher mortgage rate, can't they? And someone has to capture that higher wage too. There's greed still there, right? There's like greed in the inflation. There's greed in the rates. You got banks going, well, shit, we can keep our rates high a little bit higher. We know we might have some wage growth if Trump's going to say he's going to remove all these workers from the country. We're going to have less workers, which means you next summer might get paid instead of 20 an hour, you might get paid 30 an hour or 25 an hour. If you're making 50, maybe I can skim some of that off the top. So you see strength in the banks right now, right? This is a big, huge, wrapped up trade. It's monster. Anyways, net it creates some kind of like bizarre fake high inflation, high wages, devalued and undervalued stock scenario into next year and beyond. The economy would be raging, but money would be worth less, and you would be paying more because, of course, you make more. And now I don't know if I'm phrasing all of this correctly, but it's like the fraud carries on. I don't know what to describe it to. It reminds me of like Reagan, maybe the Reagan years, possibly, and maybe the 90s. There were like two time periods it reminds me of. And you can also see something else here. I don't want to say this. I don't want you to get mad at me. But it's bringing other things into the picture of this trade. That trade, right, as it's being wrapped up right now, it's not surprising to see threats of war alongside that. We had those same threats of war in the 80s, and not in the 90s, but like the 80s we did. We had like this like greed, and you had Scarface, and you had all this other stuff. And you also had, I was still young then, but you still had this like Robert Heinlein esque almost like a nationalism that's kind of weird. It's not healthy either. It's not good. There's good nationalism, like really bad nationalism, and you see calls for that right now everywhere. You can see it with like remove all the illegal immigrants, call out the military. We've got internal this and internal that. It's rhetoric, but it fits that scenario. It fits this entire trade, and you're seeing some of it right now in our markets. You're seeing the precursors to this trade all over the place. See it in Bitcoin, see it in the banks, and you also see companies that are kissing the ring of Trump. You see like Tim Aapl, right? Is one case we know about publicly, and then the next case would be Elon Musk, right? And I wouldn't put it past any company that's either importing workers or any company that their products rely upon foreign goods or foreign services that could get tariffs to kiss the ring. And you'd get like some companies that aren't being affected by this inflation. If you've got Apple not being affected by, or not inflation, you've got like a company like Apple that's not being affected by tariffs. If a deal is done with Apple but not another company, Apple's profits should be insane. They're not going to give you the deal. They're going to tell you that inflation is up and tariffs are up. They're going to mark their product up alongside every other product that gets marked up, aren't they? If an Android phone goes from $200 to $300, you think Apple's going to stay at $300 or $900 or whatever it is? No, they're going to raise their prices too. There could be like a profitability in there. So there's like corporate greed alongside all of this stuff. There's a movement of greed in our country right now from banks, and greed from participants and stock market participants and corporations. You can see it. It's clear as day. Now, what's fascinating about that too is if Trump doesn't become president, they will unwind that trade. You would see like the Senate would be kind of gridlocky. If Kamala wins and you get Senate and House of Reps goes red, it would be very much like Obama's first term, where nothing happens. That could be a crazy unwind. We could have like an inverse crash over that too. Like this trade is developing right now. Do any of you guys see this trade, the parts of this trade as it's happening, or no? Well, and that's the other thing too. There's likely something else happening. I don't want to talk a lot about this, but I was looking back in history to changes in politics and changes in markets, and it's normal. It happens. They're probably in some kind of a like you see like Republic or Democrats used to be more like Republicans. You'll see like religion running politics. You'll see corporations or industry running politics. Different groups running politics and political parties meaning different things. We're probably at a big change here coming up in the next decades, and it's like you see like the mafia oligarchs in Russia. You see Z is like an oligarch, like a quasi-communist capitalist system, and then you see our own corporate oligarchs trying to involve themselves in our politics. And you also see companies like you have AI and robotics probably play a role in this power, this power dynamic. And you see politicians engaging these corpo. I hear like Christo-fascism, but I don't know if it's that. I don't think it's Christo-fascism. I think it might be corpo-fascism of some kind. And I don't know that's bad or good either. I just think it's a change. Maybe it's bad and good depending on who you are. But it does look like that we're changing. And there are different time periods, even in the U.S., where you had a different politics running, or different politics than even the party that you think that they are. The politics change over time, and times change, whether you like that or not, or it's a good or a bad time. And I was talking to my daughter yesterday about it because I've been formulating this whole like trade, and I was telling my daughter, I'm like, when I was a kid, I was a kid of the '90s. I was a child of the '90s. I'm like, when I was your age, we were very positive. I was like, but my mom and my dad grew up in a big time of change. There was like women's rights. There was Vietnam War. There was social changes with minority groups. And I was telling my daughter, even when I was a kid, there was like we looked like our biggest fear was like the environment. We were more accepting of people that were gay. I was like, we're way more accepting of people of color when I was a kid. I was like, and we were very positive. The wall had come down when I was very young. We weren't looking towards like nuclear war was starting to fade. I was like, when I was a kid, we had that. We'd hide under desks. We had this signage to get down in a bomb shelter and stuff. But I was like, we had a pretty good childhood. My parents, when my parents were growing up as kids, they had a great childhood. They were a product like the 50s. And they had parents who came back from war when their parents went through horrible time periods, right? They went through World War II. Very terrible time, right? And of course they're taking men off the streets, right? Send them to war, and there's no men on the streets, right? Women go to the factories, start working. It must have been a very chaotic and volatile time to be alive in this country and around the world, right? So we're probably going through some kind of permanent change over the next decade or two. I'll probably be too old for that stuff, but you can see it. You can definitely see that there's another shift in politics, and it makes people panic. And I want you to know that I realize that. I realize that regardless of which side of it you're on, when I speak to Republicans, they say the same things Democrats say. It's like the end of America, and then the Republicans are like, it's the end of America, and I'm like, I think politics are changing in general across the board out there. So, anyways, as this relates to the market, there's this windup of a trade going on in this change, this shift that's going on in our culture and our society and around the world right now. And be aware of it. I want you to be aware of it. You don't have to you can't really trade it. You can trade it. You actually can trade it, but just be aware of the mechanics of it in our markets because they're real. They're very real, and they impact like the housing market. They impact the reactions to how those numbers come out. They impact our unemployment rates, which impacts, of course, our markets as we move forward. So, and also like Fed rate decisions, right? Are we going to get a rate decision, or are we going to get a rate cut? Why are we not getting a rate cut? What are we looking at down the road? Why is he not cutting rates? You can see it clear as day why he's not going to. We could get wage inflation. coming up here next year. It's possible, and put us into some kind of a really fucked up, bizarre soft landing. Oh, I get it. I get it too. I'm afraid too. I think most people are afraid. I think no matter what your politics are, if you were to like take someone on like alone having a beer, if I was having a beer with a MAGA person or even a conservative, think about this too. It's not just you. There was a corporate Republican party, right? You know what corporate Republicans are? Those are like your George Bushes, your Donald Rumsfelds, your McCain's. That party is almost dead, isn't it? It's almost gone. It's not here anymore. You got MAGA redefining what the Republican Party is, right? You've got Democrats having that same fight right now within their own party. There's a lot of shifting going on. I mean, if I was to sit with anyone that was of any party alone, they would probably, or what I've been noticing is that they express similar fear, whether it's real or fake or whatever. I notice that they express similar concerns. So it's real. I want you to know that. It's okay. GDP, how about no landing? Yeah, I think no landing is possible. I was very bearish on next year, and I don't know. It's become less clear at this point. They're trying. They're smarter people than me are trying to put us into this soft landing, like I want to call it 1980s, like a blend of 80s and 90s. It's its own thing, or at least blunt whatever that that end of a business cycle is, the damage from it, like the lost decade. They're trying to blunt that right now for greed and money. I don't know if they'll be successful or not, but they're trying. And there is a possibility that whatever that housing crash is won't be as deep as even I think it's going to be. This goes counter to what I figured would happen this year or this upcoming year right now. So just a heads up on that. I think that's all I got for you guys. They'll pump and risk on TLT. You might get a bump right now on TLT, but I think it has more down to go. I think they're going to murder TLT. I think we're gonna spend. We're gonna spend like crazy, and I think we're gonna do a lot of threatening of tariffs and stuff like that. If Trump wins, now if he doesn't win, that's the counterpart to this thing that I just told you. If Trump loses, I don't know what that unwind looks like. TLT should fucking moon. I know that. Bitcoin would crash more than likely. Not a bunch, but enough. You know, like I gotta work that side of the trade out. I haven't worked that side of the trade out yet, which is if that Trump trade unwinds at any point, it's gonna be a doozy. You would see yields probably fall too, right? Oh, that's the last part of this discussion. We watched on Saturday. We watched Larry Williams go through the end inversion of the yield curve and how it's unreliable on its own to predict crashes, and it really is. And especially since the 1980s, it's been very unreliable. It does not on its own say we're going to crash. You got to know that. I need you guys to know that. Be very careful of anyone saying the yield's up, the yield curve's up, market's down today. Nonsense. It's pure nonsense. If you look at it over like months, you can't really throw a dart at it on its own and say it's the yield curve. We have like 40% of the time yield curve uninverts and we go up in a vicious way. So you don't want to get caught in the wrong side of the trade. That's not an edge. Like 60% of the time is not an edge on its own. It involves GDP, debt, unemployment, inflation, a blend of all that kind of stuff. What else we got here? Yeah, and we don't know these things. Like these are a lot of unknowns still. And just how they did that USD JPY and US tech shit, I would not be shocked if this shit unwound. It's gonna be a fucking mess. Like it'll be a fucking mess, guaranteed. Isn't CBDC the beginning of the end? I don't know. I hope you guys get through it. Truthfully, between you and I don't care who you are. I don't care what your background is. Just like touch grass. That's the only thing I can say is touch grass. Be a good person. Even if we do make this change, be the best person. Always be honest to yourself. Like one of the most important things in life is that look inwards for who you are. You can actually shape politics, even if they become, let's say, more. I'm not a conservative person, but even if they become more conservative, if you are a good person, we've had conservative people that are good people. And it's okay to be that guy. Like Mitt Romney's like, that fucking guy doesn't do anything wrong, right? He's like, the guy's got nothing in his closet, zero. You can be that good person along the way and do the right thing. You have to believe in that in people, and that's what makes people special sometimes. You get like a country like ours that has managed to avoid a lot of that. Not all of it. Had some very dark times, right? Civil War, dark time, right? Slavery, dark time. So we've had some very dark times in our country, but we've tried to fight through that stuff as decades have passed and culture has changed. Yeah, there's a change. There's a change coming. One of the things I'm afraid of too is like I'm afraid of AI in particular. If I had like an existential threat that I had, it's probably AI. Only mostly because I think about the nuclear bomb and when it was developed, and it was closely guarded by nation states, and AI is not, or we don't know if it is right now. It could be. There could be a ceiling that we don't know about. They haven't told us. They've already could have been close to the singularity, and they will not, maybe they just never tell us. They say, "Oh, I've made an impasse," but I doubt it. It seems like the genie's out of the box. It seems like every country is working on it, and seems like private individuals are working on it. I don't think it's the same situation as the nuclear bomb, and that's a problem for me at least. I'm like, I see some real problems there, but fuck it, we'll deal with it when we get there. They say that about this string theory too, right? There's like string theory. There's some argument there that string theory they've actually figured out some of this stuff and that they've made it classified. So they have like different layers of science out there. They got like pop science and they've got science they teach on a topical level. But like your real true thinkers, real true physicists, they might be talking to them in the background, being like, "You can't talk about this stuff in public anymore." I don't know if that's true or not. I doubt it. I think like the genie's out of the bottle on AI. Do I think we can develop real AI? Yes, I do. I think it's going to take time, but absolutely, yeah, 100%. General AI, yeah, definitely. People are working on it. Countries are working on it. Yeah, I think we can. 100%. Will it take time? Yes. I think robotics is farther behind than the reality of robotics. But it's getting there. It's getting there. I mean, some of that Black Mirror shit we're seeing right now, right, with drones. We're seeing that shit already. You saw ballistic missiles get knocked out of the sky. 140, 180 ballistic missiles get knocked out of the sky all at once. That ain't normal. There's nothing normal about that stuff. I don't think we know. I don't think we were told a bunch of it either. I was in the army. I was in U.S. Army Command for a little while, and I knew that there was a ton of stuff there that wasn't told, or then that I saw that was never public. There was a lot of public information that was told too that was not correct. I would like go into these I would go to like a DFAC. They have these like containers, like shipping containers. You can go in there and eat and shit, and they would have art. I think it's called AFN, or I forget what it's called. AFN. It was like TV, and they would have news on and shit. And I'd be watching the news, and be like, that shit, that's not what's happening right now. I'm like fucking sitting right here when it's going on. It was like to tell you a story that wasn't even matching what was actually going on. 100%. It was the opposite of what. Of course, Americans are arguing about what's going on. You're like, they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. So, 100%, 100%. All right, I gotta go, you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9:30. Apologize for not being here today. My internet should be kick ass right now. Like, I can't believe my internet was broken. If I guess eventually it just broke off and it's like wiggling around or something like that. And what's crazy too is I was experiencing it on my Wi-Fi and my wired. So I couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on. Yeah, I'll see all of you guys tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. Be safe out there. And one last thing, I'll leave you with one last thing. One serious thing. Do your best. There are places for you and for I. When I like to go out nighttime, do shit, go out with my friends, right? I go to underground fights. I go to raves and stuff, Burning Man. I go to all kinds of cool stuff, right? I go surfing and go skiing. There's appropriate time and places to do certain things, right? Try your best. We're adults, right? And we're here to make money. Try to do your best over the next week or two as the election comes through. Even if you have to remove yourself, it can get very easy. It's very easy to like, we're going to keep this professional, but a little slight dig. If you ever catch yourself doing that, it's like, you know what? I'm going to leave. I'm not going to engage. Try to be nice enough or try to be not instigate the next couple weeks, especially what we're doing. We're here to make money. That's what we're here for. If we're here for just politics on itself to like bash each other or fuck with each other or piss each other off, that kind of stuff, people get very emotional. And we don't know who's going to win. Think about that. Even if we have like a red sweep ahead, if Trump loses, I don't want to see Democrats like shitting on Republicans or people with MAGA or people that are religious in our Discord. Save that shit for your family, people you hate, your friends that you hate. Save it for your mother-in-law that you hate. I don't care who wins. Just try to keep it out of the Discord. And always try to keep those lines of communication open with people, especially when it relates to the market. Because you need to have, being a market participant, it's very important for you to be objective. Not go too much down the rabbit hole, drinking too much of the Kool-Aid from bulls or bears, and have this like objective or as best of an objective opinion as you can have, regardless of your political opinions. It's very dangerous. And not only that, people get emotional. Like people get fearful. People, their emotions are high strung. Just leave them alone for the election. As soon as a couple weeks pass, month passes, you want to fuck around with each other as long as it's in good taste and someone's complicit with you. Like they don't mind running jabs at each other. I got friends that are not my same political party, and we jab each other all the time in good taste, and it's welcomed. But in like general chats and stuff like that, just try to stay away from it. Because I don't want to start banning people. I really don't. Like I don't want to like ban you from the Discord, or even ask you, pull you aside and say, "Hey man, just take a day off, take a week off, go away." If it's really getting to you, do it for yourself, your own sanity. Just get away. Like I don't want to read the Discord and have it be a Yahoo message board on a fucking news article on CNN or Fox News. If I wanted that shit, I'd go there, right? That's where I'd go to like shit post and YouTube video or whatever, or a fucking Reddit post or Twitter. Keep the Discord just like that's your safe space for all of you for money. So keep it like that if you could. All right, you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning. Have a great night. Let's see if we can get that dip buy. Let's go over here really quick in that trigger chart. If you guys haven't seen it, that's TLT, but we're gonna go back to SPY really quick. I better not be fucking losing the internet. Let's go back and just, if you haven't seen it, you want to snip this for yourself, just preliminary. I'd like to see us come back down. Personally, like an open, I'd like to see this. Tomorrow, I'd like to see us come down here. Trade this 581.54. You'll have it in the brief tonight. But if we wake up and we're up here, I'll take that trade too. If we're up here at like 9:30 a.m. or something like that, we should get some prints into Wednesday and Thursday to the upside. Nothing's changed. Same as Sunday night's brief. We're going up. We're trading 5,900. I need to see like realized volatility. I either need to see a high to sell that shit, or I need to see a break of trend underneath. If I don't see that, or I don't see that, we consolidate for the move higher. I think that's good enough for now, right? One last thing. I know I keep saying last thing. One last thing. Here's one last thing for you, and this is serious too. This is even more serious than the market. Last week I broke my dick making money. It sucked. This week, haven't been doing that. If you don't like chasing money, I said this in a brief on Sunday, I think. Chase individual tickers. Stay away from the indexes. They can get a little wonky right now. You can like trade stock. If you're like, no, Cap, I like trading S&P 500. There are condors. There are butterflies you can do. You can just sit out and do nothing. It's okay as a trader to take 4 or 5 trades a year, 10 trades a year on pullbacks, corrections, stuff like that. You don't have to trade every single day. You don't have to be like, I need to trade right now. You need to trade for today, bro. Just close the fucking laptop. Literally, like close your computer and walk away. Do something else. Go for a walk. Go read a book. Do anything. Set an alert lower and say, oh, sweet, it pulled back finally. It's been a week. I was not having the internet today. I was thinking that. I was talking to Winky earlier today, and I was like, dude, I would be fucking on vacation right now. I wouldn't even be like this nonsense right here. I would not be fucking around with this at all. At all. As a matter of fact, the easy trade here would be to wait for that, wouldn't it? Set an alert in 579 and don't even open your laptop unless it happens. If it runs away, you don't even care. You know what I mean? That's the easiest trade. 1, 2, that might be 3. That may be 3 for us to go higher. But if it ain't, maybe that's 3. 1, 2, 3. And me, myself, I'm down here waiting. I think we're going up, but I'm still down here waiting. All right. Adios. Have a great night. See you in the morning.